Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I'm your host Hajra Satti and joining me is my wonderful co-host who happens to be Fahim Bangesh. Assalamu alaikum Fahim. How are you doing on this pleasant fine morning in Islamabad?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing very well, alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. And well, first of all, Hajra, we should not forget, ever since the month of August started, I have been very festive. I have been happy, I have been enthusiastic, and it has been doubled by our Olympic gold medal that Pakistan has won through Arshad Nadeem. I mean, I'm double happy this time. Hajra, tell me something. On the 14th of August or the night of the 13th, that's today's night, yes. Do you often go out and, raise the Pakistani flag in the car and, celebrate and, I know you don't honk the baja. I know you don't do that, but still, how do you celebrate?
Right. Thank you so much for asking me this question. So I do remember when I was growing up, we used to go on a drive and we used to see all of these important buildings because they were all covered in the lightnings and in the buntings, and there was a festive occasion, and that reflected in the general environment in the wave of Islamabad. But as I grew up, so I usually sleep around 10:30 or 10, and I'm so tired by that time. I just don't want to go out and do that. But yes, I do remember that the place where I live in, there are fireworks there. So after 12 there is yes.
Lovely.
I think last year they cancelled it for some reason, but I'm hoping that they do have fireworks this year, because when there's a firework here, because it is in the proximity to our house, so there's a lot of rush out there, but from our rooftop it's quite visible. So yes, I do watch and I do see and I try to take pictures, but my camera does not do justice because the pixel quality is not great. But yes, exactly, when we were growing up and when we were kids, when we were younger, we used to celebrate it with a lot of zeal. And I think as you grow up, some things change, but some things remain constant. It's a very interesting bit of it. And I think the weather is very fine because of the rain and because of the, although it's accompanied by the humidity, no one can deny that, but generally that intense heat wave, that has gone now, and I'm very glad about it.
That has gone, and tell me about it, because I tend to perspire a lot. Well, and when you, even like you said, cameras don't do justice.
True.
Even when you take pictures in very nice weather, cloudy weather, rainy weather, in the humid weather, the camera does not do justice, because only the person who's present in that humidity knows what he or she is going through.
Right.
And now, Hajra, when we talk about camera, when we talk about the lens, when we talk about pictures, do you think that when an artist, he or she draws or paints a picture, do you think they can do justice to what they have in mind or what they're seeing in front of them?
Well, I think that question can be best posed to an artist herself or himself, because I'm not a one, so I really don't know. But we will obviously.
I'm not the one either. I was very bad at art. Oh my God! And so is my son.
I think I was the same, because I was never interested in arts. But Fahim, I want to ask you one question, and that spawned a very interesting debate when I asked it to someone else. So, do you think that representation equals to empowerment?
As a matter of fact, I do not think so, because someone who might be in a position, he may be representing everyone, but he may be going on somebody else's, orders. Perhaps he might have, the orders might be of something that he had, mental orders that he has learned from the past. He has not unlearned, he has not relearned. And he's representing either an organization or a group of people without new beliefs, without new systems, without new knowledge, without new research. And so I would not really call that empowerment. I would just call it mere representation of a group of people in the form of an organization or a country or whatever, or a city for that matter, but not empowerment, certainly not. Because empowerment comes from here, only here.
That's very true, and I think I agree with your answer. And I do believe that when you're talking about empowerment, then you should come from the place of enlightenment. And unless you do that, unless you are not in that place, you cannot call it representation. And I think one or two examples that I would quote to also support and complement what you are saying is that I do remember when on 7th of October, so I think on 8th of October, the Iranian princes who were expelled from the Iran, they went to the Israel and they praised the Israeli forces there, that this is a true empowerment because there are a lot of women who are enrolled there, and now we are witnessing what they are doing, especially the IRA forces and the women who are doing there. So it's not an empowerment at all. What they are doing, it's a genocide. And if you take the example of America, you will witness when they talk about the racism, yes, there is a lot of representation. There are a lot of black people who are at the power. They do had the black president, but is the racism eradicated? If we say that representation equals empowerment, no, it's still there. You still find the cases of how police is brutally stamping out the black people there, right?
Yes.
And it's not just the America, it's rampant in the other Western and European countries too.
I think the world still has a huge road on which it has to travel in order to get rid of all these negativities, negative ideas like racism, like ethnic cleansing, like discrimination. I think these need to be gotten rid of before the world becomes a very good or a better place to live for the younger generations who are being brought up in this world. And I think without much further ado, we would introduce and start our first segment. And for that, we have with us landscape artist. We have with us Miss Saira Amjad. Miss Saira Amjad, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to BTV World and good morning.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much.
So Miss Saira Amjad basically is an artist. She paints in acrylics. She has held exhibitions in Karachi and elsewhere. And well, we will ask her about this journey, and we will ask her about what is it in that painting, because she paints landscapes, right? What is it in that nature that she finds so alluring, she finds so attractive, so
enticing in the first
and
place.
Enticing, yes.
Right? So Miss Saira, please tell us your story. How was your childhood and how did you develop this great liking for the arts and for the painting?
Thank you so much. I never knew that I was a painter.
Okay.
Since my childhood, I was a nature lover.
Okay.
This is what I knew. I have been grown up in an atmosphere where there were a lot of trees and flowers and many more things. And I used to play all the day with flowers, talking to butterflies, picking the petals, talking to the petals, and
Wonderful.
all these things. Then with the passage of time, I started poetry because my father is a poet, and there was artist in me. That's why I started poetry. In my poems also, I express nature.
Right.
Then I got married, and I was asked not to write any more poems, and my artist started suffocating in me, and I didn't know what I should do. I kept on weeping and weeping and weeping, and then one day after a few years, I picked pencil and I picked up paper and started drawing random lines. I didn't knew that how the colors are used, how the texture is made, how a painting is made. I never knew it. When I drew some lines like Picasso used to draw, my husband said, "You can do art."
Right.
And he encouraged me a lot. Then I started figurative paintings
Right.
to express myself, to make abstract faces with so much gloominess and so much pain in face.
And was
Because-
that reflective of you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Because all my life which I was facing,
Right.
I tried to express myself.
Right.
Then as my husband is also a landscape painter, though we both do very different from each other, but I felt that no, I should do landscape.
Okay.
And you know, we can see the sari that Saira Saiba has adorned. That is also so close to nature. It has autumn leaves on it. It has some calligraphy done on it. It's really, really nice, and it shows the artistic taste that you have
I
in.
chose this sari because the verses written on it are all about women.
Okay.
I see.
Woman as a mother, woman as a sister, as a wife, as a rebel as well.
Okay.
And I, being a woman, faced many things that there should not be in our society for a woman. I hate those things. I struggled a lot to express myself. I struggled a lot to bring myself before the world that if I do this, that never means that I am vulgar, that never means I am wicked, that never means I am not part of this society.
But do you think the younger generation now has more power of expression?
Yes, but where I live in Chakwal, it's a backward area. There are still so many restrictions, so many hurdles for a woman to take a step ahead in life.
But Saira, Miss Saira, do you feel that you were able to use your art as an expression where you're able to change things, or do you feel that your art has this power of activism embedded within those paintings or within whatever you are drawing out there?
First of all, I would like to tell that it is very important for a woman to be financially strong.
Okay.
The time I have been dependent, I could do nothing. When I started painting and I put my first ever landscape on FB and it sold, it gave me a lot of encouragement. I bought my colors, I started painting regularly, and it gave a lot of response. I got so much money. I earned in millions through my painting, through FB.
Okay.
Wow.
And it was an inspiration for my village girl, that a girl living in village who is not allowed even to go outside from her home. She is earning so much and she is fulfilling her dreams.
And
you
that too
know
sitting
that-
at your home, right? You are
Yes,
not going
I
outside.
think this social media proved a blessing for me.
Definitely. And you know, Hajra, this, I mean, it tells us something that even though she had had no specific education as far as landscape art is concerned.
No professional training yet.
Yet
Yes,
what
I'm
we can
self-taught.
see on the television screens, the paintings are exquisite. They are simply
Thank you.
beautiful. As we can see, the depth of color, the detailing, everything is beautifully done in the paintings, and I think you deserve those millions that you earned through these paintings. And this also gives an impetus to many of the, like the International Youth Day was celebrated yesterday, and people were mentioning that yes, Pakistan does have a lot of potential, and definitely we do see that potential in front of our eyes, that many of the people must be really good at art. It's just that they either do not get the permission, or perhaps they do not get the opportunity. And here we are looking at Saira Saiba, who looked for an opportunity, fished for an opportunity, and made herself what she is today, and not just held her exhibition in her own hometown, but also in Karachi, which is a major hub for these kind of things, and earned so much for herself and became financially independent.
Right. And Miss Saira, so what is the scope for people who want to follow your footsteps? Do you think that art has a scope in this country? Because usually artists are complaining about how they're not getting the due respect which they deserve in the country or in the, and it's not just Pakistan, I think it's across over the world.
Yes.
And how they are lamenting that after their death people are eulogizing them, and I think we see the case with the Sadat Manto and all of these great artists. But with the social media, with the empowerment that we are talking about, how do you see that the landscape is changing? Do you see that yes, if someone has this art or someone wants to pursue it, he or she can go into invention?
Yes, obviously, if a girl like me who has been restricted from everything,
Right.
who has looked for her own way and saw success in this field,
Right.
I think obviously there is a lot of scope. The one should one thing should be in mind, that your art should be pure. It should not be copied, or it should not be by force.
But
So the element
If
of
you are
creativity has
artist,
to be there.
if you are artist, you can seek your way. There is no hurdle, and I have sold my work internationally as well,
I see.
and I have sold more than 6,000
But what you
paintings.
have made, you have also imitated the nature, right? You have copied
Yeah.
the nature. So when you're talking about copying, it's a very, I would say, a two-sided debate, right? You cannot exactly say that, you know, copying should not be the way.
If we see this perspective, this universe is also an imitation. The first thought is God himself.
True, true.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. And that is a beautiful thought, because even in the case of music, when we think of music, yes, the creative thing is there, but the basic music, again, what she said, the basic artist, the first artist is God himself.
God himself.
In
True.
every tune, in everything that you
And-
hear,
Right.
be it the fall of water, be it an
Everything
instrument.
is his reflection.
Right, and that is why
Yes.
one of the name of Allah is Al-Musawwir, right?
Yes.
Yes.
He's the beautiful
I
maker.
also made a painting of Al-Musawwir.
That's
see.
interesting. So you do
Lovely.
calligraphy, do?
A few.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. But thank you so much, Ms. Saira, for
Thank you
coming
so
here,
much.
for enlightening us about the artwork, for telling us that what does art means to her, and it's a way of changing her life and of empowering her, right? So Fahim, we will obviously wrap up this segment, but before going on to the break, since you are an artist, but you have treaded on a field which is different from the painting, which is like in the poetry or in the musical realm. So do you believe that artists should imitate the nature, or when we talk about this debate on the copying, what's your opinion on that?
Because if I talk about myself, Hajra, I mean, in the beginning, yes, you should, you can, but it depends on person to person. I did, in order for me to learn, in order for me to practice. And but then, if I talk about myself, it had been such a long time that I hadn't sung. I have recently started from the motivation of someone in PTV, and I'm really thankful to him for giving me that motivation, because I have started, and it's so therapeutic, Hajra.
Okay.
When you are artistic in nature, and when you practice your art, it takes out all the negativity that you have inside you.
Yes,
It gives you so much relief. It gives you so much satisfaction. It is the purest form of spirituality that you can feel inside you. And again, like Saira Saiba was mentioning, art has to be pure. Art does not have to be vulgar. Art does not have to be something explicit. It can be many things other than vulgarity. But then again, it depends on how you see art. It depends on how you perceive it, because that's what PTV World is trying to do. That's what PTV World's logo is since the beginning, and since inception, that we change perspectives.
And Fahim, let's also explore the relationship of the art with the pain. So do you feel that, you know, a lot of people go through a pain in their life, and that is what life is about, right? It's in ups and downs. You feel pain, then you feel pleasure, and then again, this is a tough and stress sort of a relationship.
Hajra, pain is something that each and every individual in this world feels, and it has got nothing to do with your financial condition, right?
True.
And art is something that is basically the best form of expression of your pain. And the more pain you have, the better your art becomes, the mature your art becomes. Every form of art, basically.
And when speaking about the pain, and obviously, like you mentioned, it has nothing to do with your financial status. So now let's also explore and move beyond the realm of the art and go into the movements that transpire, right? So mass movement, that I would label it, a movement that asks for the independence, that asks for the freedom, that asks for the enlightenment. And when we talk about the pain, we also need to explore how Pakistan was, also Pakistan came into being. So today happens to be 13th of August, and 14th of August is our Independence Day, and we will be celebrating that, and we have interesting programs lined up. But when we talk about the idea or the concept of the pain and how it propels the mass movement,
Yes.
so something beautiful really emerges after you experience pain, and if you're able to regulate it in a better sort of a way. And Fahim, I've seen this particular movement on the social media, and I'm very glad about it, that a lot of people have started documenting what people went through in that mass exodus, because a lot
Yes.
of people, millions of people came from the India to Pakistan. They migrated here, and that too under a very dire condition, because leaving your homeland, getting uprooting, there's always a sense of belonging to the area there where you're born, right?
Absolutely,
So when
absolutely.
you move there from that part of your home to another part of your home, there's a lot of disposition, there's a lot of an idea of longing, and I think a new identity that is being formed out. So I'm very glad that the younger generation realized that, and they are starting documenting what people went through, and that through the voices of younger population out there. Because they started asking their nana nanis, their dada dadis, and unfortunately we are losing that generation that witnessed all that saga that unfolded at that time, right?
Yes,
And they have
exactly.
their own stories to narrate, you know, how their neighbors were uprooted, how they came here.
And see, Hajra, how important pain is. It gives you the
Exactly.
motivation to do
Exactly.
something. And
Exactly.
Pakistan was created as a result of some sort
suffering,
of a
yeah.
pain, some sort of suffering that was continuously being, suffered by the people of the subcontinent, of the Muslims of the subcontinent. Well, I think with that we will go for a short break, and we will return and have more conversations with our new segment. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere to PTV World.
Good.
I love Pakistan for its resilient people who stand strong in the face of adversity.
Pakistan, my beloved homeland, where the majestic mountains meet the warmest hospitality.
I'm proud to call Pakistan my home.
My Pakistan, a canvas of vibrant colors where art and literature comes alive.
August 14 marks a special day for Pakistanis around the world.
It's a day to celebrate freedom, unity, and the country's rich cultural heritage.
On this momentous occasion, let's put aside our differences of religion, culture, and language.
Let's celebrate our diversity and unity.
Join PTV World, Pakistan's only English national broadcaster.
For a spectacular celebration featuring
Patriotic processions and rallies. Colorful flag hoisting ceremonies. Traditional music and dance.
Tune into BTV World on 14th of August to be part of this joyous celebration.
Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to
Assalamu
World
alaikum.
This
Thank you
Morning.
so much for having us.
Right, and it's
Lovely.
wonderful to have you, and I think we're also infected by your really positive energy and the aura that you are exhibiting. So we're very glad that we've also been joined by Miss Anam Arif. Assalamu alaikum, Miss Anam, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you so much for calling us.
Right, it's wonderful to have you. And lastly, we've been joined by another wonderful teacher who's making sure that the younger birds or younger generation bloom into a beautiful flower, that I would say, beautiful flowers, I would say. We're very glad that we have been joined by Miss Ghaza Ijaz. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum salam. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure having all of you here. Now, Ms. Mahinur Mohsin, you work with these little buds, right?
Yes.
And it's you people who make them, like Hajra very rightly said, that you people are the ones who make them bloom into very good, responsible citizens. As far as children of the early years are concerned, how do you instill in them the values of independence and celebration of independence of Pakistan? I mean, is it something special that you do in schools in order for them to realize that it's the Independence Day?
Yes, definitely, because it gives me flashbacks of my childhood. I feel very nostalgic as well, because this is something how we used to celebrate Independence Day, and we have been celebrating it with same passion and enthusiasm since then. So we make sure that we transfer all these things into our children as well. Especially now I'm a parent as well, so I can understand what parents demands are. And secondly, I think it's very important for our children to be connected with their roots, and they should know their culture.
Absolutely.
And being a teacher of an earlier, it's not that easy, because they are very young to understand anything through lecture. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that we are planning some activities accordingly, and their involvement and participation is also very important. This is the only way they will learn, and they are also going to enjoy it.
And I think Ms. Mahinur mentioned something very important here, and we would further like to build the conversation from that, and that is the idea of connectedness, right? So, Ms. Anam, how important do you think is this idea of connectedness, that you feel connected to your student, to a child out there, in order to instill that sense of belonging, a sense of Pakistani identity into that? Do you think that by having some sort of barrier in that identity or in that connectedness, you can instill that idea, or you need to feel a connection, a deep connection with the child?
I think it's very important to build a connection between a child. First of all, when the child is coming to a school, it's your responsibility to teach him, everything about their religion as well as about their country.
True.
And the love for the country is really, really important, because when they're grown up and they should know that they have to do something for their country instead of moving, abroad and doing something for their welfare. They should first think about the country.
Right.
So I think for that we should build the morals of the students in that way, that they should know the importance of living in this country and doing something for
And
this.
I think the edge with the working with the kids, or sometimes when you have your own kids and grooming them, nurturing them, so they do ask the very perplexing questions, because they're very pure, their intuition is very
And at
strong.
times you realize how ignorant you are.
Exactly. So how to deal with those questions, because I mean, there is no formula here or no particular pattern here in which the parenting is taught, or I don't know about the teaching, but it's very difficult to answer those questions for the kids, because you really don't even know the answer. So Ms. Ghaza, how is handling all of those questions, the curiosity of the kids, because at the same time it can be very exhausting for you.
Well, as we all know that the students are of curiosity, curious nature.
True.
So what we do is that we inculcate different activities. We try to show them, the videos, and we give them information so that, I can give them the answers they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and now Ms. Mahinur, talking about the difficulty level of teaching small children.
Yes.
It can get very exhausting for the parents. You yourself are a parent, you would understand that.
Yes.
Now, how difficult is it looking after a group of people, young little people who are with each other, and children get really excited when they have people of their own age group with them. So, I mean, how do you manage, and that too on an everyday basis?
Okay, it might be a little challenging, no matter how much experience you have. But you know, this is the nature of, I would say, a human child especially. They are you know, capable of following the discipline. They are capable of following the instructions if you are giving them, or if you are providing them properly. And if you are portraying, yes. And even you know, children see, children do. If you are behaving in a particular manner, definitely they are going to copy you as well. So I would say, being a skilled teacher, it is not that difficult to manage a class of 20-25 strength, or maybe 30. And then again, there are some exceptional cases. There are some very naughty ones in the class, but then you have to, you know, plan something accordingly. And because, you know, we cannot just even we cannot ask a child, you know, be to resist themselves and, you know, be in same position for the whole day. It's very difficult. Even me being an adult, I cannot, you know, just be on my couch all the time. So we have to provide them with different activities, and along with that, different opportunities. For example, they also enjoy the sports period very well, and the arts activities. They love it. They like to perform on the stage. So I think these are the things which are, you know, helping the teacher as well, and also the student as well, to groom themselves.
Right, and Anam, I think now times have changed. We have evolved. I mean, as far as our generation was concerned, it was basically how the teachers used to teach. Okay, finger on the lips, be quiet, no questions. But now things have changed, right? Now they're being encouraged to ask questions. They're being encouraged to talk more, to express themselves. How important do you think that is in as far as the growth of a child is concerned?
I think it's very important to give a chance to the students to explain, to tell what they want to say, to give them the opportunity to talk. It also builds their confidence level, as well as they know how to, they get interactive with every type of student and people. They know how to talk. They will learn discipline. They will know that how, when they have to speak, and then they have to, you know, be quiet. So this is the very main point, to be disciplined, and mannerism also. So I think but when we gave them the opportunity to speak, so the one and only thing that that is important, that their confidence level. They know that they can speak in front of the, you know, on different platforms as well. When we gave them the opportunity to participate in different activities, or we can talk about the assemblies which we organize in our schools on daily basis, we give the opportunity on, you know, on to every student of our class to go and conduct and to speak in front of all the students, of all their peers. So I think that's very important, just for their, not for their only confidence level, but also for their communication skills.
And I think that's very, very much important, and this is the importance that we realize when we venture into our professional lives, that how much effective communication is important in your career progression, not just career progression, I mean generally in your personal life too. So Ms. Ghaza, now moving on to you, like she mentioned that, you know, you should give the opportunities to all the students so that they have a good communication skills, they develop their public speaking skills, and generally, you know, move towards a more effective communication. But when we were growing up, like he mentioned, we grew up in a different era, in a different environment.
A lot has changed.
How has the teaching changed? Do you think it has adapted to suit the modern needs of the 21st century, of our digital age? And what sort of changes have you inculcated? Because I do see there's a race out there that you have to be first, you have to attain 90% or above marks, or, you know, you have to be the best of the best, right?
Cutthroat competition, as they call it. Yes.
And it's very suffocating for a child's creativity, because you are directing all his or her energies towards rote learning, memorization, or becoming first, in other words, right? So how do you view all of this?
Actually, we all know that it's a competitive world now. It's not the same as before.
Extremely competitive.
As a teacher, we give our students total freedom to do whatever they want, to express, to let out their creativity. So we don't, you know, we don't follow old school methods anymore, that sit down, you're supposed to do this, take out your notebooks, do this, do that. But learning has changed a lot, time has changed a lot. So we are preparing our kids, a new generation, in such a way so that they can compete in the modern world, so that they can, you know, shine in this world.
Right.
And Mahinur, if we talk about today's world, today's era, we see that digitization of everything has played a huge role, right? Even in activities we use digital methods, right? Now, there are some children, there are some parents who tend to, you know, make their children rely on the phone a lot.
Yes.
So, any message that you would like to give to parents? Because obviously, for children, it's very important that their parents should also talk to them, interact with them, be it any activities, be it instilling the thought of independence, because it's just not the job of the teachers.
Teacher, yes.
The whole, all the people at home should be playing an effective role in that as well.
Definitely, and speaking of my own personal experience, I am a mother of 2 sons. I have 2 sons, and the first one, he always had a very strict timetable, and the younger one, we were very lenient for him.
Oh, yeah.
And we have seen a drastic change in especially on the focus level. If you talk, their attention span is totally different, because my younger one was very much addicted to the screen. And I'm saying it openly on a public platform, because I want them, it's okay if we do make mistakes.
Yes,
right?
obviously.
And there is always a time that you can, you know, just go back and you can, you know, amend those mistakes. Being a teacher also, now I have experienced this in my class. There are some students who are not even answering you. They are not even interested in any of the activity, no matter what you do. And even sometimes we take them specially for any video watch activity, or we take them for using the smart boards. Believe me, their attention span is so less that after like 2 or 3 minutes, they'll be like, ma'am, now let's change it, or it's boring, because you know it's affecting their mental health as well, and it's really very alarming situation. So it's a request to the parents as well to please maintain that. Of course, definitely we cannot just eradicate this thing. We are living in a modern world. Technology is a very vital part of our whole lifestyle. And to grow and to groom and to compete in the world, IT is, I think, one of the industry that is growing, and people are making a huge amount of money from it as well.
And I think we are also, that's a new normal for us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And we need to learn to live with this entire development. So now moving on to Ms. Sanam, so like Mahinur mentioned here, that how do you deal with the shrink attention span of the younger kids? Because this is not a problem which younger kids are suffering. I think we adults are also suffering
all of
from
us,
that,
exactly.
right? Constantly we are tuning in, then we are tuning out.
Yes.
It's a problem, it's a dilemma we also face. How do you deal with that as a teacher?
By making the activities of their level, and also including those devices into your activity, by as she mentioned that we make them sit and make them watch a video related to our topic. So it also increases the interest, but also they'll get bored after some time, because they are not that much interested. So by making learning fun,
Right.
okay, with different new ideas, new innovations we can bring, and for that, yes, there's a hard time for us, because we have to do all of the work, and we just have to present them in front of the students. So yes, this is difficult, but job demands.
Yes. And Ms. Ghazal, last question before we wrap up the segment.
Yes.
So how hard or how difficult is it making learning a fun thing? Because I do remember when we were growing up, we were not acquainted with this idea of learning is fun, right? We have to do it because you know it's ordained.
We
and
have to do it because we have to do it.
No
Yes.
choice. You have to do it. So please go ahead.
We try to, inculcate different activities. We are not only, reliable on books now.
Interesting.
So we are using a lot of other things as well. We have a lot of, for example, we are teaching playgroups.
Right.
So we have toy section in our class, we have book sections in our class, a painting section in our class. If one student is, getting bored with the work, he or she can go anywhere to any section in the class according to his or her own interests. So that's how we are, we are tackling them on their individual needs, on their individual interests. So that's how we're doing it.
And thank you so much for enlightening us. Thank you so much for this wonderful cross-pollination of ideas, and we are indebted to your endeavors of making sure that our young birds, our younger generation, they are the builders of this country, and you're grooming them. It's a great service to them.
Because you people are the representatives here on the national TV of all the teachers who are teaching the younger generation the future of Pakistan. And the future of Pakistan, by the looks of it, will be bright. And we have a lot of hopes from the teachers. Yes.
I think for him, just adding it in the conversation,
Please
is
do.
that teachers are very unsung heroes, because I think this is the most underrated job in Pakistan.
Yes.
It demands your immense energy, it demands your immense participation,
Exactly.
and I mean, people do not appreciate the value of that, right? And when it's missing, then you feel the value of it. I
Gets
think
you mentally exhausted.
exactly.
Yes.
I think someone like something very akin and closer to a motherhood, the concept of motherhood, because a mother is constantly putting energy, unconditionally she is doing things, and people do not value the idea of the concept of motherhood as it should be, right? So thank you so much once again for coming here, for having this
you.
wonderful
Thank you.
conversation, and best of luck to you, and immense respect and salute to your effort in making sure that our younger generation are being taught well and they're nurtured in a healthy environment. With that, we are bidding you farewell until next time. It's a
And
goodbye.
in advance,
Happy Independence Day. Good morning.
Good morning.